Hola amigos, welcome to this course on Latin American music. We're very happy that you decided to join us on this musical journey from the Rio Grande all the way down to Tierra del Fuego. I am Leonel Alvarado and I am from Honduras and I teach Latin American music, literature and travel writing at Massey University of New Zealand. I write poetry and I'm interested in the relationship between poetry and music. And I think this combination is one of the reasons Latin American music is unique. That and the fact that they tell us a great deal about Latin American history, politics, and culture in general. We can talk about music, but don't expect me to sing or dance. We leave that to the experts.
Thank you, Leonel. I'm Celina Bortolotto from Argentina, and I also teach at Massey University. But my focus is on literary criticism, translation studies, and phonetics. I do research on humor, so watch out for my Argentinian jokes. Bienvenidos.
Indeed, bienvenidos. This course is a short version of a course I teach at Massey University called From Tango to Rock, Latin American Rhythms and Politics, in which, among other things, we see that Latin American music is much more than rhythm and ballroom dancing. As we'll see in this course, you can learn a great deal about Latin American history, politics, and society through music. And we will focus on 4 music styles that do precisely that: tango, bolero, salsa, and trova. I'm sure you're familiar with some or perhaps all of them. For instance, tango reflects the many changes Argentinian society was undergoing from the second half of the 19th century. Bolero, or romantic music, speaks, among other things, of cultural identity and the impact of religion in Latin American society, while salsa and trova are linked to key social and political changes.
We will discuss these issues further by looking closely at the song lyrics and exploring how we can translate some of these changes and the new sensibilities to contemporary ideas of what it means to be a Latin American.
In this module, we will talk about tango, the music of African slaves and European immigrants. These 2 different cultures met in Buenos Aires in the last decades of the 19th century. We'll see that tango is much more than ballroom dancing or a Hollywood gimmick.
But let's see, before tango, which appeared in the last decades of the 19th century, we had indigenous music, which was frowned upon by the social and political elite, African music, also an outcast, European music, such as opera, waltz, polka, contradanza, etc., religious music, which during colonial times had played a key role in indoctrination, in other words, a key political and social role, and military music, which is where most of our national anthems come from, as they channel our national identity and the idea of a nation we wanted to create.
So you see, music and nationalism, be it to celebrate a nation or to denounce a foreign intervention in this region, go hand in hand in Latin America. That is not to say that all of our music deals with historical, political, or social issues. What's political about salsa, you may ask, or about tango? Well, we'll see that there is a great deal of social engagement in these 2 types of music. They make you dance and in some cases think about deep social issues. Also, Latin American music reflects complex identity issues because it's the result of a complex cultural mix. For instance, there is an African influence in most of our music, and there is a great deal of indigenous influence, as we'll see in trova and in political music in general. During Spanish rule, from the late 15th century to the 19th century, indigenous, European, and African cultures came together to form a new mix, to which other elements were added: Chinese, Japanese, Middle Eastern, and so on. Our music is the product of these influences, and we'll get to see this in this course.
We will also talk about lunfardo, a kind of slang specific to the Rio de la Plata region that spread from the margins of Buenos Aires to the center, with many of its terms becoming now of everyday use. We will identify some of the male stereotypes in tango and reflect on how they have contributed to shape the figure of the arrogant Argentinian all over the world. Yes, I know, I'm Argentinian.
Yes, I agree. The first form of tango dancing appeared in the poorest neighborhoods of Buenos Aires, where African slaves lived. They used to hold a carnival called candombe, which spilled into the streets until it reached the best parts of the city. And here are some fun facts.
The word tango is originally African, and it refers to the place where slaves gathered to dance.
And believe it or not, tango has a German influence. A key instrument, the bandoneon, is of German origin.
When immigrants arrived, there were more men than women, so men used to dance tango with other men.
We now invite you to join our tango dance by introducing yourself in the forum. You can talk about the reasons for taking this course, what you like about Latin American music, even the songs you sing in the shower.
Who knows? Someone out there may be willing to dance or sing with you.